So over the past 25 years, Dragon Ball and One Piece have shared an understandably close relationship. Being two of the biggest and best-selling manga properties ever, all under the same publisher, means you're probably going to cross over at some point. And surprise, surprise, there are tons of these crossovers, many of which never escape Japan, and most of which have been heavily documented by fans of both franchises. That is, aside from one crossover that I am 99% confident that nobody knows about, mainly just due to the circumstances around its existence. Let's get the crossovers we're all familiar out the way. Number one is Cross Epoch. This was the first and only manga chapter collaboration between Dragon Ball and One Piece, released in 2006 in Weekly Shonen Jump. There's Battle Stadium DON. This was a GameCube and PlayStation game which brought Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto into a Smash Bros. Like platform fighter to duke it out. Not the greatest game in the world, but the sheer novelty and the amount of fan service meant people were clamoring for this game to get brought over to the West, and to no avail. Then there's One Piece episode 590. The special is, funnily enough, known more so for the lack of Naruto, who a lot of people like to call a part of this big three, but it does feature Dragon Ball and Toriko. Now, if we dive into a little bit more obscure crossovers, there's Jumpland, which is a now defunct online platform which had games, art, etc., a web and mobile version centered around Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto. Then there's also the Let's Play TV console by Bandai that was released for the 40th anniversary of Shonen Jump that I actually personally owned and want to do a video for in the near future. And then there's Kyotai Panic Adventure, which is not the center of this video, but it is a very interesting piece of media. This is part of a promotional event hosted by Fuji TV in this giant dome theater, and both of these specials take heavy advantage of the layout of this orb, with action able to move between the different screens. These specials feature what I presume is somewhat original animation spliced on top of a real live action environment. The first special features Astro Boy, who had a new show airing in 2003. Between Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Astro Boy in this special, these three series don't particularly interact with each other so much as we just see them go through each of their scenarios individually. That does change in the second event, Kyotai Panic Adventure Returns, which features Dragon Ball, One Piece, and the long-running gag manga Kachikame. We get some cool stuff here, like Goku fighting alongside Luffy, Luffy learning he can ride the Kenton, and then there's also this like animatronic Shenron that pops out towards the end, which I think is pretty cool. Overall, just two cute crossovers. But the crossover that I'm 90% sure that nobody knows about is a game known as Dragon Ball Cross One Piece Super Bluetooth Battle. And there are basically no posts on it online, no forum discussions, nothing on the Dragon Ball or One Piece wiki. Nothing aside from just a small selection of Japanese news sites that documented the crossover, and myself of course. And that's mainly because this game existed solely as a special exhibit at Tokyo Game Show 2008, with reports mentioning no plans for official service or distribution. This was a mobile-only title developed by Bandai and shown off at KDDI's booth. The game is weirdly more polished than your average tech demo, at least from what we can see from the screens taken during this event. I haven't been able to find any video documenting this exhibit, even across the many Tokyo Game Show archives that exist, and in true Tokyo Game Show fashion, there's actually more pictures and videos of the models showing off the phones at TGS than the mobile games themselves. One of the major draws of this crossover game was that it was built for sliding phones that were back in 2008 back in Japan, which made for much better fighting game controls than your standard flip phone. As the name implies, you could fight another player wireless through Bluetooth, though the exhibit itself had two devices hardwired to minimize latency. And despite being called a Dragon Ball and One Piece crossover, only Goku is represented on the Dragon Ball side, strangely enough. While on the One Piece side, Luffy's core crew is playable, so Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Sanji, and Chopper. And 6 characters sounds lousy, but for a mobile cell phone title in 2008, That's not bad. Given the UI for this game, there also seemed to be a leveling system that would encourage players to fight as many battles as possible and grow their fighter over time, though the demo version had the characters already at level 99. Now, the Goku sprite and a lot of the UI elements look to be taken from the mobile phone fighting game Dragon Ball Ultimate Blast Versus, which was also developed by Bandai and released a year earlier on the Docomo iMode service. With all the work that seems to be put into this, what happened to this game? It was clearly developed enough to be a functional game worth demonstrating, and this could be a combination of different factors. One is that a majority of mobile games being developed for the Dragon Ball brand were under Docomo's iMode service, whereas this exhibit would be under KDDI's own service. And to be fair, the game arrived at a fairly unfortunate point in the cell phone gaming life cycle, with the first iPhone being released in 2007 and the official App Store opening in the summer of 2008. One could say that this was a possible precursor to the Dragon Ball Cross One Piece fighting crossover between Extreme Butoden and Great Pirate Colosseum, which added crossplay functionality and updates to the game. Anyway, this was just a unique piece of Dragon Ball and One Piece history that I want to preserve and talk about. Talking about stuff like this helps prevent these things from just fading into obscurity. If you want to see me talk about more obscure pieces of anime content and other topics related to Dragon Ball and gaming, go ahead and like and subscribe. Otherwise, see you in the next video. Alright, bye.